Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Biome podcast, a space for nurturing the ecosystem of business, body, and living. What would it be like if you gave your body a leadership role in your business and chose greater happiness every day? These are the conditions that create a healthy biome and a thriving business. I'm your host, Heather Nichols, and I'm so happy you're here. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Entrepreneurial Biome podcast, nurturing the ecosystem of business, body, and living. I'm excited today to chat with you about the heartbeat of your business. I love this topic, and I would say your business has a heartbeat. I would say all of your creations have their own sort of heartbeat as well. And it's one of those things that when we begin to tune into that and to listen to it and to listen for it, to acknowledge it and to honor it, to create with it, it greatly facilitates what we can create, the results that we have, and it actually makes things just so much more ease and greater ease and elegance. And I want to also just talk about, then I've mentioned this before and I will continue to, that for me, business is, it's the business of your life and living. So it's not just the thing that you do for money or a thing that you do for money, or your job or whatever. It is really the whole ecosystem, your whole life and living. How you are with your body, how you are with your family, your relationships, your money flows, your home life, all the things, that we all of our relationships are, everything, even how you are with the earth. I would say, like, for me, that's a big part of my business is my relationship with the planet and nature and the earth. So our business is way bigger than what most of us tend to think of when we think of business. And so whenever I say that word in this podcast, that's basically what I'm referring to. And I just wanted to mention that because I will be probably using that word a lot in this particular episode. So what is the heartbeat of your business? Well, your business is its own entity. That it's sort of it's an energy, an entity that has some sort of definition to it. Like it can be seen, perceived, talked about, whatever. It has a kind of a life force of its own. And even, in legal terms, we do call businesses entities in, at least in the United States, we use that word to refer to legal entities, legal business entities. And to me, an entity is something that does have a life force of its own. It's got a personality of its own. If you look at the business of Apple, let's just say, there's the business of Apple and there's the business of Microsoft, those businesses have very different energies, very different heartbeats, very different, they're different entities. And part of what feeds into that is just what the business is when it's created. I'll talk more about that in a moment. And then, who participates in it, the clientele, the staff, even the future clientele. So there's a lot of different aspects of what goes into the sort of personality or the heartbeat of a business. And one of the things that, if you're somebody who has created an actual, like a formal business, it probably was something that at some point spoke to you. There was some idea, of like, oh, I could do this as a business. I could sell this, or I could offer this, or I see this as something that the world could require, or I see this as something that I would enjoy doing, And I would say, like, if you look from a perspective with business that, what is it that you enjoy doing? That's a great place to start with a business, because why would you want to have a business that you didn't enjoy? the joy of business is always available to us. And I highly recommend that book, The Joy of Business by Simone Milasas. And I am a facilitator of Joy of Business classes. So those are available as well. Business Done Different is one of them. Beautiful, beautiful conversations, classes, tools that give you a completely different perspective on business, how you can do it and how you can do it in a way that really works for you and actually is a contribution to you and a gift to you. So that's, read the Joy of Business book at the very least. And Simone also has a podcast that you can tap into. We could include that in the description. But when I actually discovered the Joy of Business, I was just so excited. I was like, oh man, finally, somebody's speaking my language. Somebody's talking to me about something that I've always known, but was sort of, didn't think I could actually, I wasn't sure how to create it. And that was having the Joy of Business, like having a business that was something I just knew. It was like, if I could do something that I enjoy doing and make money doing it and enjoy it more, and the more that I enjoy it, make more money, that would be really cool. That was a knowing that I had. And that was part of that was my business, like the heartbeat of my business starting to speak to me. It's kind of like when you're, I've had 2 children. So when you're pregnant and they can like detect the heartbeat, it's like, oh, there's a heart. It's beating. We can detect the heartbeat now, and it's not going to be as strong for a fetus as it is, a full, adult person, but it's the beginning of it, and so we get these little inklings of our businesses as the heartbeat, and we start to go, oh, okay, as soon as you can hear the heartbeat of a baby, it's like, wow, it's really quite miraculous. And that baby grows and grows and becomes a person and has a personality. And, so it's a similar thing with your business. And as you would with a child, you're not going to, well, I hope not, but I guess some people do. I don't recommend having a child and then completely invalidating what that child is. And that has happened. It does happen to most people in some way. Unfortunately, what would it take to change that? But it's the same thing with your business. If you start to detect this, like a heartbeat, with your business, and this is, beginning phases, but this is true with different creations as well. It's like, start to listen, you want to start to listen to the heartbeat. Listen for what it is. Ask it questions. Acknowledge the business or the creation if we're talking about a specific creation that you're working with. Even the Entrepreneurial Biome podcast has a heartbeat, And when I started to perceive this podcast, I was like, I like to do a podcast. And I had all these different ideas about, I'd like to do this and this and this. And, I had all these things that I wanted to talk about. And I was like, how do I put these together in a way that is cohesive for people, that I can actually like offer as a cohesive offering in the world that makes sense, And I sat with that for a long time. And I, my team and I played with it, and we would get together and go, what is it? Because we were acknowledging that, like with this podcast, that we were acknowledging the heartbeat of the podcast. And it was like, okay, let's get together and listen to the heartbeat. Is it this? Close, but not exactly, Is it this? No, that feels pretty off. Is it this? So a lot of intuitive play and interaction with the energy of the creation, the energy of your business. And you just know, sometimes you just know when something really lands. It's like, oh yeah. And Entrepreneurial Biome, I went, how about Entrepreneurial Biome? And we were like, that's close. And then someone just said, how about the entrepreneurial, but, and we went, oh yes, and then it was, yeah. Oh, we got it. We listened to the heartbeat of the podcast so that it could actually kind of show us its name, what it wanted to be. And we just actually created a class called Your Body is Your Business Partner, that I'm going to start doing. It's going to be a 1-day class and then like a small group immersion experience. Same thing with that. We were like, what is it called? Oh, okay. So, and cause when you land on something and it's like, the future kind of opens up and the angels sing, with glory. So the beauty of the heartbeat of your business is that we can really develop our intimacy with it. We can develop our listening to it. We can develop the way that we be with it, the way that we interact with it, develop our, our intimacy with it, willingness to listen and be present. As we develop that relationship, basically, things start to grow and thrive. And it's just like with any other relationship, if you're honoring of each other and you're trusting each other and you're an allowance of each other and you listen to each other and you genuinely want to know, like if somebody has ever with you been like, I genuinely want to know about you. I genuinely would like to know, like, who are you? What makes you tick? That's a cool conversation to have, and it even kind of makes you think. Like when people ask me questions like that, I'm like, well, who am I? It makes me look and ask questions myself. But that creates a strength in a relationship that when you do that with your business, it also creates this kind of like, you're feeding the soil of the biome, you're feeding the ecosystem with nutrients and the energy of trust and the energy of listening and the energy of caring for the business and paying attention to it. And the business can let hey, I need some attention over here. I'd like some attention over here. Hey, why don't you look over here? And as we start to listen to our businesses and lean in when we know it's time to lean in, or respond or pay attention when we know it's time to do that, it's really amazing what can show up. Really, really amazing what can show up. And this builds this beautiful trust between you and your business. Now, let's look at the kind of converse of that, right? Like, so if you're like, I don't care what the business is, and again, if you did this with a person, okay, I don't care what this person is, I don't care what they desire, I don't care, about their feelings, or, I don't care about any of that. I'm just going to do this. Has anybody ever done that with you? Probably. We've all had experiences like that, and you're like, no, I don't actually think I want you in my life, or, maybe you let someone like that in your life and then you're like, what am I doing? Not enjoyable, not a contribution to you. Same thing with your business. If you're like, here's my agenda. My agenda is that I'm going to teach 25 of these classes every year and do 85 of these and sell 150 of these. And, now I'm going to force that to happen, Okay, will you succeed at that? Maybe, maybe, will it be easy? I guarantee you it won't be easy. I guarantee you it will not be easy. One of the mantra of Access Consciousness is, all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. I love that mantra. I don't use a lot of mantras. That one I do. That's the one mantra that I use. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. All of life, that means the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever's going on, ease, joy, and glory, like an exuberant expression of abundance. That's glory. So all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. Now, if I'm going to create my business from that space, then I'm going to make my life a lot easier by listening to the heartbeat of my business. And in doing so, letting my business show me, because your business will be like, hey, here's a place you can go. Here's something you can create. Here's, a possibility for you. It will actually give you this information. And, again, that shows that for me, I would call it awareness through awareness. Other people would call it intuition or a gut feeling. But any successful, well, I would say probably a lot of successful entrepreneurs, maybe most, know that you need to follow your gut. Like following your gut with investing, following your gut with, with how you create your business. What do you do? What you do, what you don't do. When you have a bad feeling about something, it's not going to work out. Like that's just, and so many people ignore that and they plunge forward and they, force their way through to try to get things to happen. And that's not going to work out. So, just be aware of that and make it easier on yourself because, and here's the thing is you have to trust your business. You have to trust this beautiful thing that has a heartbeat in order to have that sense of like communion with it, where you can show up and create with it and move with it in a way that works for you. You do have to trust it. And that's part of the relaxation of creation that this podcast is. One of the things that the podcast is about is getting to greater levels of relaxation, both with our bodies and in our creative world, which is why I wanted to talk about this today toward the beginning of this podcast, because that is a big piece is to start to really weave through everything that you're doing with your business. Ask to add more relaxation, and hone in on that with your body as well. I think it was last week's episode was about the neurology of relaxation and creation. I think it was the third one. So you can listen to that. A really cool conversation about the nervous system and how that plays into things. But it actually requires a level of courage to relax and listen to the heartbeat and follow the heartbeat and honor the heartbeat. Now, does that mean that we just like never have a desire for something? We never have an awareness. We never have a point of view. No, it does not mean that. You bring yourself to the business, like you and the business come together to create something, and include the people that you work with now and in the future, because you will have people that will work with you in the future. You may be aware of them now. Include them. So that's a big piece of the heartbeat of the business, and the ecosystem, of your business is not just you, but it's everybody that you work with, and it's acknowledging that the business is part of that. So let's, and one of the things I'm learning a lot about right now, and I really love, and I've mentioned before this book, Who Not How, which is just an absolutely brilliant book by Dan Sullivan and Benjamin Hardy, because it really goes into adding to the ecosystem of your business, basically adding people. When you'd like to create something, ask who, not how. Who can do this, and you add brilliant people, the ecosystem gets greater, right? It's a diversification, it's a strengthening, it's an expansion of the whole ecosystem. And I would say this is part of how we also feed the heartbeat of the business, is by bringing people to play in the business that also are willing to listen to the heartbeat, be present with it, honor it, and that the business also contributes to. That's a totally foreign concept for most people, that your business contributes to you. Like it contributes to you. It contributes to the people that you work with. I mean, imagine that your business could contribute to you and the people that you work with, not just your clients, but your staff, or your team or whatever you want to call them. And one of the things that in the strategic coach model program, materials body of work that Dan Sullivan created, he talks about a what's the word that he uses? Self-organizing, self-managing, I think, business. I can't remember the exact, because to me, I actually love the word self-evolving. So I'll use self-evolving, and I'm gonna, reference Dan Sullivan on that one, because one of the things that he plays with is this idea that you want to create a team that can grow, that grows itself. It's self-managing, I'm pretty sure is what he says. So it's self-organizing and self-managing. So you don't have to be the one, overseeing everything and making sure it all happens. That's one of the biggest places where entrepreneurs waste a lot of time, I will say myself included, is in trying to control things, trying to control their team, trying to control how things go, where they go. When you do that, when you're in control, you're not honoring the heartbeat of your business. You're not honoring the brilliance of your team. You're not receiving from your team or your staff, whatever you want to call them. You're not receiving from the contribution that your business could be. So there's a lot of places where you're isolating yourself and cutting yourself off. And the heartbeat actually begins to have some disease, because if you look at the ecosystem of a body, right, the heartbeat of a healthy, vibrant, strong heartbeat, there's so many different organ systems that feed into that. The liver is a part of the strength of a heartbeat. Who knew? But it cleans our blood, and so there's all these different systems. I would say all the systems in your body contribute to the strength of your heartbeat. And so you have to look like that at your business as well, the ecosystem of it all. What feeds the heartbeat, what strengthens it, and how can you receive from it? How can you enjoy the strength of it? When you have a vibrant heartbeat in your own body, you can enjoy athleticism and, greater capacities with movement and things like that, greater health. There's all these things that you get to enjoy when you have that, and receive it. So play with that with your business. And what would it take to enjoy the heartbeat of your business, to let it contribute to you? Because that's part of the gift of the business, is your business truly actually here. Like, what if part of the purpose of your business is actually to contribute to you? Most entrepreneurs, business owners, they are a slave to their business. And that is a diminishment of your business. It's not acknowledging the heartbeat of your business. It's not acknowledging everything that you have created and can create to strengthen the ecosystem of all of it. If you're a slave to your business, then that's what it's always going to be. And until you change it, and you can change it. But you've got to start to look at your points of view about what is your business, how does it function, and what does it know as its own entity, as its own ecosystem, and what's the interaction with it? So if we look at your team or your staff and having a self-organizing, self-managing, self-evolving team, a self-evolving business, right? Would you ever go plant a garden, put the seeds in the ground, and then stand over them and be like, these seeds are not tomatoes yet? You wouldn't do that, right? And nor would you be like digging up the seeds every day to see if the seeds were sprouting. You put them in the soil, you give them sunlight and water and nutrients, and you just let it go. You trust, right? You let the process of evolution, of germination and growth you trust it, and you let it go. And you find out, sometimes you plant a garden, you're like, oh, those didn't take, the seeds didn't take. Okay, cool. What can I do different next time? So it's the same thing with your business. If you're planting seeds, creating things, whatever it may be, and bringing people in to contribute to this self-evolving organism called your business that has its own heartbeat, that contributes and it receives, it's not a good idea to dig up the seeds every day and pull them out and be like, oh, there's a tiny little string of a, sprout. I don't recommend doing that. Like, you're not going to grow powerful plants if you do that. You've got to let it breathe. You've got to let it self-organize, self-manage, self-evolve. You've got to let the team bring their brilliance, let the business bring its brilliance, all the creations, even let your clients contribute to your business. My clients contribute so much to my business. And what does that look like? Well, it doesn't look like you might think it would. But it can. I mean, you could say directly, oh, well, they pay you money, so they're doing that. But that's not what I'm talking about. My clients, like, they talk to other people about me. They share different things that have contributed to them. They contribute energy to the business. They receive from it and from me, and that feeds me, and it feeds the heartbeat of the business and the team. So there's so many different people and things that can contribute to the strength of the heartbeat of the business, the strength of the biome and that ecosystem, that we don't consider when we function from linearity with it all. And so let it go, let it grow, let it move, let it evolve, let it self-organize and self manage and self-evolve. And there's a lot of different pieces that go into this. And there's no way that I could convey all of that in a podcast, or even many podcasts. Like, there's conversations to be had, there's things to be explored, and to be looked at in terms of the unique heartbeat of your business and your staff, and but this is also where that listening comes in, of listening to the business, listening to the creations, listening to the staff, listening to your own awareness, your gut, your instincts, your intuition, so that when it's time to change something, add something, tweak something, adjust something. Because the evolution of a business, to me, it's like one of the coolest things that we get to do. It's one of the coolest parts of my life, is being part of the evolution of my business. And I actually have the total privilege and honor and delight to be part of the evolution of a lot of businesses, because that's what I do, is I work with people and their businesses and their bodies. And, that's so, but it's so, I love that so much. I love being in there with people and looking at things and talking about things and, teasing things apart and giving ideas and, just getting our hands wet and going, hey, how can we make this greater today? What can I do? What can I be? What can I contribute? What can I receive? How much can I relax to make this greater today? And to me, that's the daily operations, of running a business, is what can I be, do, have, create, generate, choose, that would allow this business to be greater today? What can I receive from it? How can I play with my staff? What can we all do that makes it greater today? And part of it is also acknowledging and recognizing that, like, there's a uniqueness of, obviously your business is unique and your staff is unique. And, you come together, like my team has been having more meetings lately than we historically have had. And probably I perceive this as a kind of a shorter period of time where there's a lot of creation going on. I mean, there's always going to be a lot of creation, but we're in a moment where more meetings are required. And it's actually been really super generative. I mean, having meetings when it's time to get together and chat and brainstorm and stuff, that's very generative. Having a meeting because you have to tick it off your list, your thing that you do every week. That's really boring, change that up if that's how it's going for you. But anyway, so we get together and we brainstorm. And it's one of the things I love doing with my team is going, hey, can we look at this thing together? And the ideas that people will bring, the suggestions, the things that we will each perceive, because that's one of the things I invite my staff to do is, hey, let's please bring your awareness. That's basically why I hire people, is because of their awareness, and they might have some, skills and capacities in a certain area. But it's always more for their awareness than anything. So I really want to know what they know. I want to hear about what they know. I want to hear about what they're aware of. And I deeply value that. And as does the business, it contributes to the heartbeat and the health of the ecosystem. And as we do, it's really cool to see these ideas that come in, these suggestions, it's such a unique thing, because we're putting our awareness together with the unique personality, heartbeat, of this particular business and these particular creations. And so everything that's part of the mix is part of the mix, and it's all contributing. And so, an idea or a suggestion or let's do this or let's not do that or whatever that comes through anybody, it's a result of this incredible ecosystem that is its own unique ecosystem. And that wouldn't happen anywhere else. And that's so part of the magic, because that same person or that same, creation or whatever done through somebody else or another business or what, it would never show up in the same way. And one of the things I say a lot to people is you have a monopoly. You have a monopoly on you, in a great way. Sometimes people think monopoly is a bad word. I don't think it's a bad word. You have a monopoly on you. Nobody can be you. Nobody is aware of what you're aware of. Nobody has your unique skills and capacities. Somebody could go, oh, I'm going to do the Entrepreneurial Biome podcast. It wouldn't look anything like it does with me doing it, because I have so many unique things and experiences and training and education and awareness and knowledge and, life experience. And I mean, everything that I be and do and that I have been and done comes to this and is brought forward in its own unique way. And it's not just me. I acknowledge my team contributing to it and the whole business. And then the Entrepreneurial Biome is like, hey, I'd like to come and contribute to this, being in the world in a bigger way. So, but that could never be replicated. It could never be copied. It just can't. It's not possible. It's not something that is even a possibility. And so, I mean, the greatest thing about that is there's no competition. Competition is a lie. It doesn't ever exist. It can't, you can't compete. All you have to do is be you, monopolize the monopoly that you already have as the heartbeat of you, the heartbeat of your business, the ecosystem of all of it, the unique contribution of your team in this unique cauldron of creations and possibilities. And it's something that is brought over here is not going to be the same thing at all. It's going to be totally different. And one of the beautiful things about that is when you acknowledge that, this beautiful cauldron, of that is being created by all the different elements and aspects and people and energies, is wow, I love this stuff. To me, it's like creative crack, it's that is so exciting because it can't be done anywhere else. And so you can relax into that, be in question every day of what else could I add to this? Sometimes you add just the littlest bit of salt to a soup And oh my gosh, that changed everything. Sometimes you even need to add salt to dessert. Like I'm a salt person. And I oftentimes, if I don't eat a lot of dessert, but if I'm eating something that's sweet, I will be like, this needs salt, because salt actually brings out all the flavors, and you wouldn't think that, so you never know what a little pinch of something is going to do to go whoop, like salt, just everything just got greater because of it, and so you know when to add that and what else to add. And I'm a mixologist by, a lay mixologist. I say that and people are like, what bar do you work at? And I'm like, I don't work at a bar. I run bars, the energy work on the head, but I don't work at a bar. But I love that about mixing cocktails, is playing with all these unique ingredients and going, ooh, a little bit more rose or a little bit of orange rind. Like orange rind to me is like magical in cocktails. It can like brighten everything, or lime rind or lemon or whatever, citrus is a really fun thing to work with. But you start to learn like what brings everything out, and then you might know, oh, it'd be good to add a person here that could be that orange rind or that salt, bring everything out, and the beautiful thing about it is that when it's time to add, change, subtract, whatever with the business, you just know, because you're playing with the heartbeat, you're present with the heartbeat, you're listening to the heartbeat, you're letting the heartbeat inform you, and you're also letting yourself inform the heartbeat and the whole team, when it's time to change, add, subtract, whatever, you just know. And here's what I would really highly recommend that you do. When you know what like, sometimes you just know this action is required and then go do it. Don't wait, just do it, Sometimes it's, oh, there's another person that could be added here. That would be the orange rind in the cocktail or the salt in the stew, that where everything would go like this. Okay, cool. Now, here's what I do. I ask for it. I say, okay, universe, business, let's have that. Like, what's it going to take for somebody or somebody's? I never have a point of view that it's any particular number of people or one person or whatever. It could be somebody already in the team that develops the capacity, and all of a sudden you go, oh, that's the orange rind I was aware of, but I ask, what's it going to take for that to show up? Let's add to the ecosystem here. Let's amend the soil. Let's, okay, cool. So I'm now aware that this requires some salt, or it requires some honey, or it requires some orange rind or whatever. Okay, now I'm going to ask. I have no idea if the salt is going to be black or pink or, smoked, or if it's going to be, white, or if it's going to be from, the sea or the Great Salt Lake, or, I don't know, but it doesn't matter. And it may not even be salt. It may be something else that you're like, oh, this is kind of like salt. I didn't even know this existed, but when you ask for it, you've put it out there that the business is like, the beating of the heart continues and gets stronger. And then relax. Don't go chasing people down, okay, now what do I need to do to make this happen, And there are times for me where I'm like, okay, this is required yesterday. Now I might take some more action. I might do more things, talk to more people if that was the case. But more often than not, it's okay, just relax. Let it show up. And when it shows up, the person, the thing, whatever it may be that is going to add to the ecosystem, strengthen the heartbeat, like expand and exponentialize the personality of the business, the flavor, the creative capacities, all those things, you will know. It may not look like you thought it would, but you will know when that person or that energy or whatever it may be shows up. You'll know. And then do it, follow it, add it, Add it. Like, don't think about, oh, I can't afford it. Can I afford it? Da, 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 da. Go say yes. When the universe, your business, presents you with possibilities, say yes to them. Say yes. I have a YouTube video. I believe it's a YouTube video. I kind of lose track of all of these things, but it's called The Magnanimous Business, I'm pretty sure. And I talk about how your business can actually be this beautiful, it can really contribute to the revenue streams of itself. When people come and they play and they create more revenue streams to pay their salaries and everybody else's. So we can link that as well in the description. You can watch that and see, you'll be able to receive more from that rather than me going into it now, because I'm time to end. But just a fun little play today with the heartbeat of your business. And you can also apply this to every single one of your creations. You could apply it to your family. You can apply it to different relationships. It may not be about adding people to your family, but just adding new energies, new things, new choices, mixing it up. So this, you can take this and let it spread throughout the ecosystem of your entrepreneurial biome and see what it creates. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye for now. Thank you for joining me for the Entrepreneurial Biome podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe. For more resources, check out my website at heathernichols.com and my social media channels as well. Have a beautiful day, and remember that your business thrives when you do.